Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Premier League predictions for more games this weekend. It's Premier League predictions week 6 and Sophie has returned from the Isle of Wight. How are you?
Oh, it's good to be back.
It's good to be back. And last week, Sophie, it was a 6-6 draw between our Premier League predictions. Quite a close one, which means Sophie is still in front overall. Do feel free to get involved with predictions of your own down in the comments. Of course, you know the drill. Let's hit the thumbs up button. Let's raise the roof for this one. We keep hitting just over 1,000 likes. Let's see if we can get 1,200 likes on this one. Do show some support by hitting that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already subscribed as well, please do make sure to do that, as it is free and you can get your Premier League and Championship fix. Let's get into the predictions, Sophie. We're going to start at Selhurst Park for a London derby between Crystal Palace and Fulham. Now, doesn't feel like there should be a lot between these two.
No.
I think they were only 1 or 2 places apart in the table last year. I think Fulham finished 10th and Palace 11th. And so far this season, they've both been going around picking up, points we'd expect. Palace, unfortunate, I suppose, to lose the Villa game because, they were drawing going on into the late few stages of that game. And, the penalty against them, some Palace fans might not agree with that. But anyway, moving on to this next game, they take on Fulham, who ground out a 1-0 win against Luton. That's fine, Fulham, just get those points on the board. It was one of those games you really felt like you had to win. So coming into this, I think there's not a lot to separate the two. I'm tempted to sit on the fence here, Sophie, but I try not to sit on the fence as much as I can, and I think the home advantage could just give this to Palace. I'm going to say Crystal Palace 2, Fulham 1.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say 2-0 to Palace. I feel like Fulham haven't got off to the best starts yet compared to last season. Are they going to hit the same highs? I don't know. It's too early to tell. But Palace at times have looked quite good. I feel like they were unlucky against Aston Villa. They're going to want to bounce back from that. Being the home side, I'm going to lean towards them. 2-0.
Both go for Palace on that one. Do share your predictions for Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Next up, we have got Luton Town versus Wolves. We will be live streaming this game on the Saturday, so do join us for that. This is a massive game. Luton Town and Wolves could both do with the points. Luton Town have lost 4 out of 4. Wolves have lost 4 out of 5. So a massive opportunity for either or both to pick up some points. Luton Town are still pointless, so they'll want to at least get a draw, but you feel like really they need to try and win games. A draw would be okay, it'd get them up and running, but they might want to target this as a winnable one. But the same will apply for Wolves. They'll be coming away to Luton knowing that they've not picked up any points yet, and Wolves haven't played bad necessarily in some games. They took the lead against Liverpool. Well done on your prediction for that one. You did say 3-1 to Liverpool. Do you know what? I'm going to sit on the fence with this one. I just think Luton Town have got to be so desperate to get something here. If they lose this one, then it is getting concerning in terms of, we expected it to be difficult, but didn't expect them to lose 5 or 6 in a row at the start. So I'm going to give Luton a draw, which would be okay for both. They could both do with a win. Wolves are a decent team as well, though. 1-1.
Yeah, I was really tempted to say a draw for this one because I feel like both teams, as you say, are so desperate for the points, so it could be a bit of a stalemate. However, Wolves have more quality for me, so I'm going to lean towards them, but I see it being not a pretty game. A low scoring 1-0 Wolves. 1-0
Wolves. That's a massive game, guys. Do get your comments down below for Luton Town versus Wolves. Don't want to say a 6-pointer this early on in the season, but it is a massive game. Yeah. Let's move on to the Etihad, Sophie. Manchester City take on Nottingham Forest. Man City obviously flying at the top of the Premier League. They keep winning game after game, but Guardiola has come out most recently after their win against Red Star Belgrade and said that they are suffering with injuries, and it could be something that makes the title race a bit more interesting. If Man City have a couple of injuries, maybe drop some points. At home to Nottingham Forest, I don't think it'll be easy. I do fancy Man City to win pretty much every game, every time we sit down and do these predictions. Nottingham Forest, we did watch their game against Burnley on the Monday night on the channel. A 1-1 draw, it's all right. And to be honest, the theme here with Nottingham Forest is every game has been tight. They've won the games that they've won by 1 goal, they've lost those games that they've lost by 1 goal, and they've also had a draw in there. So that's what Forest's objective has got to be, to come here to Man City and keep it tight. And we've seen Forest have gone toe-to-toe with some of the top teams in the Premier League so far this season. So I think Forest can give this a real go, but I still stand firm that Manchester City are going to win the league for me. Even though maybe weren't totally convincing against Red Star Belgrade in the Champions League, they did go behind in that game. So I'm going to go for Man City to win, but maybe Forest to make it tricky. Let's go City 2, Forest 1.
Okay. For me, I feel like Forest should be happy with the point against Burnley because it did look like they should have lost that one very late
could have
on.
done,
Yeah, they could have, and it was a bit of a tough one. I feel like they play better against really good opposition. It's the teams a little bit lower down that they seem to struggle against. So I do feel like they could give Man City a good game if they turn up. But Man City are Man City. Anytime they go behind, you just think, next time I check the score, they're going to be winning. And they virtually always are. So for me, Man City win this. I'm going to go 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, and let's not forget, Forest did take a point against City at the City Ground, but it is a different kettle of fish at the Etihad. Next up, Sophie, it is Brentford taking on Everton. Everton still struggling down the bottom. They're another side that are yet to win yet. They take on Brentford, who suffered their first defeat of the season away at Newcastle. I really like Brentford. I think they play some really good stuff, and I think they're going to get another top half finish this season. I think Everton can try and make this difficult, but I just think Brentford have got the quality to get through it. I think there's a real battle on Everton's hands this season. They've really got to pick up points wherever they can, even this early on in the season, because I think they will be in the mix. I'm not saying I definitely think they'll go down. I think they could stay up still, but they need to get points where they can, and I don't think they get anything here. I'm going to go for Brentford to edge it 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to say Brentford win this 2-0. What I thought about Everton against Arsenal is they can frustrate teams, and we know that with Sean Dyche's side, that they can be quite difficult to break down. However, they just have moments where they're then not very hard to break down at all, which obviously gifted Arsenal the win. But I still see Brentford coming away with the 3 points and Everton struggling. So 2-0. 2-0
Brentford. Interesting. Right, Sophie, next up the match I'm quite interested in here. Burnley versus Manchester United. Burnley is still yet to win, but from what I saw against Nottingham Forest, I think there will be a win for them soon. They played some really good stuff. Things just didn't seem to drop their way. They took the lead, and they took the lead again, but obviously that was disallowed. But they play open, and we have criticised that because at the back they can look questionable, but they look good going forwards. They will be without Lyle Foster, who got a red card, a stupid elbow to the chest against Nottingham Forest. Manchester United, this is why I think it's going to be interesting here for Burnley, because Manchester United look really bad. We are recording this just before they play Bayern Munich in the Champions League. I don't really expect Manchester United to get anything there, maybe a draw at best, but the way they've been playing in the Premier League, I don't think so. And the fact they're playing in midweek in the Champions League, could that take it out of them going into this game? I think Manchester United should actually prioritise this game because it's the more winnable one. I think Burnley could play some good stuff, and I think Manchester United could play some bad stuff. Obviously, in terms of the quality, Manchester United have more, but I think we could meet in the middle here with a draw. I'd love to see Burnley get their first win here. It'd be very sweet for Vincent Kompany to do it over Manchester United, obviously as a former Manchester City legend. But I'm going to sit on the fence and say 1-1.
Yeah, if you look at this fixture, you think Man United should be winning this. They're going to be the favourites going into it. However, their form is not very good at the moment, and it's just not looking very good for United fans, and I feel like they're going to suffer a defeat here. I'm actually backing Burnley to win. They convinced me against Nottingham Forest, and I feel like they're going to feel a little bit hard done by just to come away with a point, and they're going to have to take that out on Man United and get the 3 points. 2-1 Burnley. Take
their frustration out on Manchester United. But they will be missing their striker Foster, but it is a big game. Get your predictions down below. Next up, Sophie, surely the game of the weekend. Arsenal versus Tottenham, the North London derby, and they've both had a really good start to the season, which makes it all the more interesting. Last season, Arsenal did the double over Spurs, which is hardly surprising when you think Arsenal was so good and Spurs were so bad. This time round, though, it feels like it could be a bit closer because Spurs have been alright.
They've been very good under Big Ange.
Yeah, they keep grinding out the results. They left it late against Sheffield United, but they got it. And Arsenal, they showed that they could be dogged with that 1-0 win at Everton. They're both showing that they can grind out the 3 points no matter what, even against those teams down the bottom that tried to frustrate you. This should be a decent game, and if they both play attacking football, we could see quite a few goals. I would like to see Spurs get something from it, seeing as they lost the 2 games against Arsenal last year. I'm just going to edge Arsenal, though. I just feel like with that home advantage and the fact that, like I said, they did the double over them last year, I feel like Arteta's got more of that continuity, whereas Ange Postecoglou seems to be building his up, and he's doing a good job, but he's not quite maybe on Arteta's level at the moment in terms of how well he knows the club and the players and everything. So maybe Arsenal edge this 2-1 Gunners.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say the same. I was really, really tempted to say a draw just because it's so hard to separate the two at this moment in time. But I think being the home side, they're going to have the crowd on their side, and that will make a difference, I think, on the day. So I agree with you, 2-1.
2-1 to the Gunners. Interesting. Right, a couple of games left on the Sunday. Let's go to Brighton versus Bournemouth, a battle on the south coast. Now, it does seem, quite reasonable that Brighton should be favourites for this. They've been doing really well, and Bournemouth haven't won yet. But out of the teams that haven't won yet, Bournemouth look the best, I suppose, because they keep getting these draws, and you think, oh, they're not far off winning here. It was a 0-0 against Chelsea last time. They picked up a 1-1 against West Ham as well, and they've got another draw in there as well. I think Bournemouth aren't far off winning. Maybe they'll have to wait another week here, though, because Brighton away is a very difficult game, and Brighton are looking very good. If Brighton, want to be serious about finishing higher this season than last season, these are the games you need to get through. No disrespect to Bournemouth, but Brighton on paper need to win this. I think they will. I think they'll do a professional job here, like they did at Manchester United, where they were, just effective. I honestly think it wasn't even Brighton's best performance, but they still put Manchester United to the sword. So for this one, Brighton win 2-0.
Yeah, I feel like this one could be quite a convincing one. Not taking anything away from Bournemouth, because I agree with you. Out of the teams without a win, I do feel like they're looking the best at the moment. But Brighton, as you said, against United, they didn't even come out of second gear. And when they get going, they can absolutely roll teams. And I think they'll be looking at this one as a winnable fixture. It could be quite a convincing one, so I'm going to say 3-0. 3-0,
yeah. It is worth pointing out Brighton will be playing on Thursday in the Europa League, but I still think they should be able to, get a win at the weekend as well. Next up, we go to Stamford Bridge, Sophie. Chelsea versus Aston Villa. Now, Villa also going to be in action on Thursday night as they, take on their first game in the European competition in some years. The thing is with Chelsea, we said that if they're going to improve in the Premier League this season, they need to take advantage of this, that they're not going to be in Europe this week, and Aston Villa are. So Chelsea have got to win this, really. If they want to get back to where they should be, a draw's no good here. They've just drawn at Bournemouth. They need to get wins. Chelsea need to win this game, but I can see them losing it. Even though Villa are playing in Europe this week and Chelsea are going to be better rested, Villa have just got that winning feeling at the moment, and Chelsea just sort of don't even know what a win is. Chelsea 0, Villa 1.
Yeah, at the moment Chelsea are very uninspiring. They had glimpses, and they have in a few games now. They've had good chances and they're just not putting them away. I think some does fall to luck rather than just the strikers and the midfielders not being clinical enough, but their luck is not in at the moment. Villa, they have got that winning attitude. They are looking a lot better, in my opinion, than Chelsea, and I really like the manager. I like both managers, to be honest, but right now Unai Emery is getting the best out of that squad, and I feel like he's going to do it. So I'm going to say it's a low scoring one for me, but 1-0 Villa.
1-0 Villa. Yeah, both going for a 1-0 Villa there. Right, next up we go to Anfield, and it's two teams, both on Thursday night action. Liverpool and West Ham, both in the Europa League, but this is going to be back to the Premier League here. Liverpool, they're looking good, Soph.
They are.
They are looking very good. They are...
didn't look very good in the first half against Wolves, but second half, different team.
Yeah, well, it's about the 3 points as well. They're just piling those points on, and, since the Chelsea draw on the opening day, or the opening weekend, should I say, they just keep winning. They've won every game since then, and they've got to be favourites to win this one. But West Ham United, they've had a very good start, and they suffered the defeat to Manchester City last weekend, but it's Man City, and West Ham did take the lead in that game.
Did, yeah.
So I think the first goal could be crucial here. If West Ham get it, can they build on it? Can they frustrate Liverpool? I don't know. I think this will be a close game. I'm going to go for both teams to score, but Liverpool on a little bit of a run here. I'm going to keep it continuing for them. Liverpool 2, West Ham 1.
Yeah, this is actually a really tricky one because I could genuinely see this going either way. I feel like West Ham are playing quite good football at times, and at times so are Liverpool. So really this one could go either way. But I am going to back Liverpool. I could see there being a few goals, so I'm going to say 3-2. Liverpool win here.
3-2,
yeah.
There we go. I like the look of that. Right, there's one game left, Sophie, and it's at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United versus Newcastle United. Sheffield United still winless. So frustrating to take the lead at Tottenham through Gustavo Hamer's goal,
of course,
a player we keep mentioning, of course, and deep into stoppage time they conceded. when Sheffield United took the lead, I was obviously, keeping an eye on that game. As soon as I saw 12 minutes went up, I was like, oh dear.
Yeah.
It just felt as if like that was so much time for Spurs to do it, and that's unfortunate for Sheffield United. So they're still chasing their first win. They'll take on Newcastle United here, who have played their first game in the Champions League on the Tuesday night with a 0-0 draw at AC Milan. And I just want to quickly mention my thoughts currently with the Newcastle United fan who got stabbed in Milan, but I hope he is recovering. It's a big game. Newcastle's draw with Milan is okay. Back to the Premier League, they'll want to follow up their win against Brentford with a win here. Sheffield United, as I say, need to get their first win at some point. I suppose, Sheffield United fans, would you take a draw in this game? Maybe. This is... Do you know what? Let's go for Sheffield United to frustrate Newcastle here. Let's chuck a little bit of a spanner in the works. Newcastle United, they've got a lot of games coming up, and I'm going for a little surprise here. Sheffield United are going to get a 1-1 draw.
I'm going for a big surprise here, big spanner in the works. Sheffield United pick up their first win.
Ooh.
They looked quite good against Spurs. Obviously, late on in the game, they threw it away. But I feel like they're going to get it over the line this time. Newcastle... in the Prem, they've looked quite good. In the Champions League, I don't think that was the best performance. They won't be happy with that, so they will be looking to kind of come back from that. But again, it's not a terrible result against AC Milan. But I just see Sheffield United doing it, so I'm going to say 2-1.
You've outdone me there.
The yeah.
There's me thinking I've got a big surprise. Go for a draw.
Drop a bomb.
Yeah, drop a bomb and walk away. There you go, guys. That is our 10 Premier League predictions for Week 6 coming up this weekend. Do get your Premier League predictions down in the comments. As I say, share your thoughts and share your thoughts on our predictions in the nicest way possible. Do make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Do make sure, of course, you are subscribed for more content. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We will see you all in the next one. Peace out.